You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
All right, welcome to the Hemp Connoisseur Radio. As always, Jason is here with me, and I am David.
What's up, David?
What's up, Jason? Hope everybody had a great holiday. Obviously, we were off on the holiday because, you know, we had to eat turkey and all.
I had steak.
You did?
And ham.
Oh, wow.
And potatoes.
Mixing it up.
Green bean casserole.
Okay, we don't need the entire menu list.
That was it.
Oh, okay.
I forgot to cook the biscuits.
How do you... the most important part, how do you forget the biscuits?
Dude, I love biscuits. Oh, we had mashed potatoes, too.
Yeah.
Made with real Idaho potatoes.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, that's good.
What'd you guys do?
We hung out with some friends.
Chris, if you want to talk, then turn the mic around and talk in the mic. All right? There you go.
This is going to be one of those shows.
It's going to be, yeah.
It's going to be. Know. So we had a guest that did cancel with us today.
Happens.
It happens. So we're kind of shifting gears and kind of going through some stuff that we thought was fun and entertaining or educational as well. So this is actually not an old story, but not a new story. It happened in August of this year, so not fairly recently.
How we found the so as you know, we are the Hemp Connoisseur Radio Show.
Yeah.
And so we do search, right?
Yeah.
That's the name of the show, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I'm wondering where he's going with it. So.
No, but we always do search for hemp articles.
We do.
So today, just kind of telling a link, and I'll let you get into the story, but kind of doing some search on some hemp stuff to find out what we wanted to do today. Something a little bit different. So I actually wanted to find out, with obviously the passage of 64, we focused on the hemp side of things. So I wanted to see if John Deere made any tractors for cultivating the hemp.
Most random search ever. What did you do?
I did tractor, hemp,
and John Deere.
Okay,
got it.
And
by the way, do they make, because this is totally off the subject of where we're going, but when you do the search, does John Deere make tractors designed for hemp?
Well, you know, they do make pieces to go ahead and cultivate hemp. Mm-hmm. However, I did not find that because I got distracted by what we're about to talk, which is pretty freaking funny.
It's just funny. I mean, you know, we don't condone this action in any way, shape, or form, but this happened in, this was reported on August 2nd.
So let's give everybody a minute to try to figure out what the story's about. It has to do with a tractor,
a marijuana arrest,
and police cars.
No, we're not giving him a minute. You know. So this happened in Vermont, and a farmer decided to crush 7 of the Orleans County Sheriff's Department squad cars with his tractor.
Now, yes, I think he made the decision to do it, but I don't think he was like really. He I don't know. I mean, we got to get into the story here, but I'm not sure that he was actually planning on smashing the cars until actually he was probably on top of them with his tractor.
Really though? I mean, he hit 7. So you think he just accidentally impulse went over one tractor and says, "Well, screw it, I'm on one. Let's see how many I can hit." You know,
if you're on iCannabis.com right now, obviously you're listening in, and that is that's the video playing right now of what we're talking about, which is it happened August 2nd, 2012 of this year, so it's not that old. I mean, it just so happens we found it today, but I mean, and I come from an agricultural background, and yeah, I mean, you grow marijuana. I mean, I know farmers that grow marijuana, and they're very beautiful plants, but this guy got arrested for having marijuana.
And it doesn't say in this report whether he was arrested for growing marijuana or just possession.
It's limited on the information that's given.
Right. But he was angry. He was so angry about the fact that he got arrested for marijuana that he decided to take revenge on the police department there and destroyed more than half of their fleet. They actually have 11 cars, and he got rid of 7 of them. And then there was a little bit of collateral damage because a bookkeeper for the police department, just a guy who's working for the police department, he's their bookkeeper, his car got smashed a little bit because he moved it out of the way with his tractor to get to the squad cars. So bad day of parking for the bookkeeper too. But I mean, just a funny story. I mean, really, that's all it is for us. But it made us laugh because we're like, wow. I mean, don't mess with farmers.
So there you go, Vermont. Legalize marijuana so you can save squad cars.
Vermont's moving towards it. And we reported on that, that like Vermont being one of the states with the lawmakers are looking towards adult use law. And that's a term we're trying to use instead of recreational use here for Colorado for anybody over 21. It's just adult use. Because when you say recreational use, it takes the medical completely out of the conversation. And that's not cool because we don't want to lose that conversation when it comes to cannabis and what it can do for people. Vermont.
That's definitely a great point right there.
Yeah,
for sure.
But when you say adult use, you're just saying, hey, you're over 21, you're an adult, you should be able to utilize this for whatever needs you have for it.
Mm-hmm. So, Chris, are you an adult, Chris?
Yes, I am.
How old are you? You ain't 21, dude.
He is over 21.
I'm about to be 30 on the 18th.
You old fart.
He does.
Sam, what about you? How old are you?
19.
So we got one minor in here. So hey, Sam.
Minor in here.
So we'll tell you about all the really good strains coming out because you won't be able to smoke it
unless do you have a red card?
He has a red card.
But see, then he's legally allowed.
He can.
Yeah,
he's good.
But again, we're not legally allowed to go purchase just because you're over 21 in Colorado until 2014. We're going to always remind everybody about what their rights are here.
Yep.
So very important to know that. So there's a couple things we want to talk about, and it's funny that you did find this piece because we are kind of talking a little bit of an automotive theme today.
Yep.
And we are doing an automotive theme in the next issue of our magazine. So we want to talk a little bit about some of the subjects that we have, and one of them is biodiesel. We've obviously bioethanol. We've actually talked a lot about bioethanol, of course, and something interesting, just a little interesting biofuel fact, especially when it comes to hemp biofuel, is it's actually edible. So hemp I'm not saying you want to consume it necessarily, but
I'm going to tell you right now, Dave, I will not be pulling up to the pump and putting that thing in my mouth.
Hemp biodiesel? No, I wouldn't either. But because you don't know where that pump's been before.
Dave lights things in his.
Just stop now. But no, it's interesting because that's even one more benefit. It's not toxic. Mm-hmm. You can't get sick from it. So a child could actually ingest it accidentally, of course, and you wouldn't have to freak out about it.
Sure.
So that's a nice little perk to it. Now, for some reason, I'm not pulling up the link of the
hemp energy. Sounds like a joke, but it's not. I think Chris is actually going to be putting it up. I'm not sure.
Right on.
See, the great thing about Chris that we have, just so y'all don't know, because Chris is kind of behind the scenes, is, man, he's kind of brilliant when it comes to figuring out stuff on the internet and doing all of that stuff. So we're definitely very happy to have Chris on board. And then Sam's also another producer in here today, but I don't really know so much about Sam.
You want the video, right?
Yeah, if you could put the video up, that'd be great. And when you're talking, please talk into the mic. Thanks, Chris. Mm-hmm. Or else you're fired.
You want the video, right?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and I think as we progress a little bit farther, with this movement and things like that, I think although we already know a lot of stuff about hemp, what it can do, we've barely even scratched the surface with this plant. I mean, they're just now. I mean, yes, they've done biodiesel, they've done bioethanol and things like that, but they are still experimenting with it a little bit. I mean, the company that we're going to be talking about today that does a hemp car out of Canada, that car that they're developing actually is 100% electric. That individual car.
Well, this is a prototype, though. I mean, that's the thing about it is it's
a prototype in 2011.
Well, it's still kind of in that mode right now, as we report it. It's they're looking for another company to basically pick it up. So they're like a development stage company, and what they're doing is they're trying to create this as an example, and then sell the entire concept to a car manufacturer, a larger one that can do it. Because that is one of the things in the automotive industry. It's very hard to just become a car company.
Sure.
A perfect example would be, anybody ever heard of the Tucker Mobile? I don't know if this is old school.
I'm really getting thrown off by a Windows advertisement going through Here we go. So if you guys are looking at right now.
Okay, we'll get back to that.
Yeah, it's a video that I have not watched yet, so I hope there's no inappropriate things in there, but I guess this is internet radio, so they're...
Okay, so we're not screening our content anymore. We're just just going for it.
Hey, just to let you know, we make most of it up anyway. So.
That's not true.
I'm not sure how long this video is.
Yeah,
but it is.
Why don't we just have people
35.
About a minute? Okay.
35.
If it's not annoying for everybody that's listening, we can definitely keep talking over it. But yeah, actually, until I read this article right now, as far as the bioethanol, I thought they were leaning more towards the biodiesels, only because you make so much stuff, like all the oils out of grease traps and things like that. A lot of people will actually stop by restaurants and pick it up to do the biodiesel. But the fact that you can actually make, maybe it's easier to make biodiesel than it is actually to make bioethanol. I'm not too sure.
I'm not sure.
You don't really hear about so much about that.
The burn rate is different, but the idea that Henry Ford had from the beginning was to have everything be bioethanol. I mean, because every fruit we have ferments. If it goes rotten, that's what happens to it. So we could be taking things like that, or trash, if we had the right infrastructure to do it, to turn that into fuels that we utilize, so we're not wasting as much. And that was his initial idea. And that's the thing. It's funny, is none of this is new ideas. In fact, these ideas happen with the origination of the automobile, and it's just been certain industries or whatever that have kept these from coming forward, because obviously there's less money in it. But there's still money in it. That's the thing that drives me crazy. Is it's just the greed, and it's just like, look, everybody can make money, and we can be like a sustainable society.
Sure.
So why don't we just create that model? It makes no sense.
Well, they make ethanol out of corn. Now, what do they do with the rest of the stock of the corn? Do you know? I don't know.
I actually don't know. We'll have to. You know what? We'll do a research on that.
So we'll make a note of that. And the reason I'm getting into that is because the oils that actually come from the hemp plant itself only come from the seeds.
That's true.
So the whole plant itself. So you're not using any of the product that you use to make hempcrete or fibers for the clothing or any of that kind of stuff. It's not. So you're actually utilizing a single plant for multiple uses.
Oh, no, it's a multi-use crop. That's what's great about it.
It's almost like double dipping. The farmers should be like fighting for this thing hardcore, and they're just not yet.
Dipping. It's like so many other things. And and I do have. We're going to be talking about that after one of the next break or so. Is how much it is going to be estimated per acre for the crop, for the hemp plant, for farmers, if they were to grow that instead. And then there, and I have a couple of things up here to show that I have like some different comparisons as far as hemp per acre compared to like corn per acre.
Yeah.
And again, hemp you can grow as a cyclical crop in between other crop cycles. So we're not saying, you don't get to have all your corn that you had before.
Right.
It's just, now you can grow this as well on the same land. Did you? Oh, he hasn't pulled this one up yet. No, the electric. We're talking about the electric.
See, this is one-sided relationship. Just so everybody knows out there, is that I share all of my information with Dave. Dave does not share his information with me, which is kind of a bunch of BS.
I thought it was all.
But it is what it is. I actually haven't pulled up that picture yet. But yeah, Chris actually has up on the site right now. Actually, he's going to be putting it up right here. The car actually looks pretty cool. It looks more of like a little.
It looks like the Fiats.
A little Fiat, yeah.
The new Fiats.
I think this actually looks a little bit better.
Well, it's made of hemp. That's what's cool, I think, about it. I mean, hemp is making up pretty much every part of this vehicle except for the glass.
There's the Lotus Eco Elise as well.
What was that, Sam?
The Lotus Eco Elise.
The Lotus Eco Elise as well, you're right. Which obviously is probably a much more sexier car, but way out of people's price range, too.
All right, it's up on the website now if you guys
Sweet.
want to look at it.
Yeah,
take a look at it, guys. That's the car right there. It's manufactured in Canada right now. The prototype, this picture right here was actually finalized in 2011, and they were looking to take it to production the end of 2012 and the beginning of 2013. I'm not sure that they've done that, though.
I don't believe they are at the moment. Judging by reading the initial drafts of the article that
for the magazine,
that Liz Munn is writing, and she's great, one of our great writers and she focuses a lot on the hemp side. I've already read the first drafts of it, and it's a great piece, kind of talking about the company and where they came about. And what their goal seems to be, from my understanding up to this point, is, like I said, to sell this concept. Like, think of it like being like the Saturn division of GM or something. You know what I mean? It's like they'd become like the motive. I think that's my understanding of it, and that's good, because then they kind of are doing this style, but they are under that encompassment of a larger company, and that's great for America. I mean, it's not easy to be a brand new, with not a lot of capital, car manufacturer. I mean, talk to Tesla.
Dude, Tesla. I was just gonna say, man, those guys are brilliant over there.
They're brilliant over there, but it's so difficult to have the distribution avenues, the sales avenues. All of those things have been in place for so long for our automotive industry that just very difficult to do that as a startup company.
Yep.
I mean, just massive amount of expenditure to even get it going. And that's the issue I think Tesla's had. They've done a great job on electric cars.
Now, we do have to go to a break, but before we get there, all right, the Hemp Connoisseur magazine, with all of our connections, we always get stuff donated. So I have dibs on the car.
That's
when Motive donates their car to us, I get it. I called it first. It is what it is. All right? So
I got to drive it first.
You get to drive it first.
After you.
How's it? That would not be first then, Chris.
Let's see if we can get it down there. Yeah. Let's see if we can get it down. Maybe we can put Motive and Tesla together, and Tesla can make the fully electric, nice
Sports
engines
car.
and the whole sports cars.
Yeah.
And actually their sedans and SUVs that they have coming out.
They're beautiful.
Make those all completely out of hemp. It's lighter fiber. It's stronger material. I know. We have to go to break. So we will take a break, and we'll be back in just a moment. Thanks for listening to the Hemp Connoisseur Radio.
The law offices of Edson Maton and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
Dixie Elixirs, the patient's choice for alternative medical marijuana treatment, brings you Dixie Botanicals all-natural topical therapy, including massage oil, pain relief salve, and our newest product, Dixie Botanicals Pain Relief Lotion. This all-natural lotion pairs beautifully with Dixie Botanicals bath salt for a deeply relaxing experience with no psychotropic effect. Like us on Facebook, Dixie Elixirs, or join us at www.dixieelixirs.com.
Let's face it, rules and regulations are complicated, especially in the field of medical marijuana. Let Medical Marijuana 101 help you get through the compliance process. We can also explain to you your employment requirements, your employees, and your business. But our work doesn't stop there. Our experience in cultivation ranges from the design of grow rooms to the diagnosis and resolution of grow problems. Visit us at www.medicalmarijuana101.com or call 303-388-7706. That's 303-388-7706.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
There you go, Gary Johnson. Talk it up, Colorado. You are listening to the Hemp Connoisseur Radio. I'm Jason. This is Dave.
Hello.
And we're back from our break.
Yes.
So, actually, before we were on there, we were looking up from Motive Industries, the electric car, which is called... What is it called? Kestrel.
The Kestrel.
Yep, the Kestrel. So, actually, looking at it right now, I think it's still up on iCannabis Radio. Is it up? No. Anyways, so yeah, it's a little. It goes about 85 miles an hour, so it's not going to be. It's not something that you're going to be revving at the light or anything like that. What do you got there?
I'm just showing him some other pictures to throw out for people for today.
Cool. Yeah, he's got it up right now.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, the next segment is actually going to be on housing, so we're going to be getting there shortly. But to finish up here with the Kestrel, definitely take a look at it. Again, we don't know when it's going to be getting here. We do have Lindsay, right? Mm-hmm. Is Lindsay right in the article?
Lynn.
Oh, Lynn. So we'll definitely know a lot more information when she does. She's
Liz. Sorry, Liz. I don't know why I said Lynn. Liz.
I don't either. So definitely take a look at that magazine when it comes out. What is the drop date, Dave? Do you know?
We're looking at middle of December.
Middle of
the
December.
Next issue coming out. We apologize for those of you who are looking for the Hemp Connoisseur lately, but we're just flat out of magazines. They're all gone, which, good problem to have for us, but, we wish we had more out there since it seems like the demand's going up, so it's kind of exciting.
Even the distributor is very impressed, by the way, because it's the only magazine that he reps right now that he actually doesn't have to go and recycle any at the end of the month, or at the end of the cycle, which
nice.
is
cool. That was our goal always, was to never print more than we had to and have all these extra, especially since we're not printing on hemp, and we just wanted to be able to be as energy conscious as possible and not waste a lot of paper.
And the reason we don't print on hemp is it's just way too expensive right now.
About 4 times the price.
Yeah, so if
and still nobody knows if they can do that. Still nobody knows if they can do it at the quality we're looking for to to try to present this industry in this light.
All in due time, I think.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
So
yeah. So one of the other images we put up was the house made of hemp. Gorgeous house. This looks like a house I would want to live in anyway.
It is beautiful.
But yeah, we did a piece on this, and I believe it was our first issue, or no, it was our second.
I don't know that it was this house right here. This is actually, I think, the first hemp house that was built.
No, this was the house.
This is the one that we did.
Yeah, because it was on hempcrete. It's made from hempcrete itself, which is a trademark name. We actually made a mistake in that, and we corrected Liz because she sent over hempcrete, and we thought it was a typo.
Yeah.
And we corrected it, which was a huge mistake. It was like the first big mistake we made as a magazine. We were like, oh crap, it's actually
not made any sense.
That's not true, but it's impossible to not make. But maybe we average like 1 or 2 mistakes, maybe, which is not bad. When I've read a lot of magazines that actually have a lot more than that, so 1 or 2 retractions an issue isn't too bad, I guess. Yeah. We try to go for perfection, though, but it just, even when you think you are, something comes up and you're like, oh, this address was wrong, or there was just a wrong mention. And
the hours.
The hours. Yeah, we found out. But everybody missed that, so it is what it is.
Yeah, that house is
but
beautiful.
It's made from hempcrete, which is an amazing.
The whole house is made of hemp.
Well, yeah, it is. It's all made of hemp. Again, it's antimicrobial. It breathes for the house itself, but it actually has a better insulation than regular concrete does. It actually dries over a longer period of time and cures for a longer period of time, which is actually a good thing. And and it's pest resistant. I mean, there's just all these great things, and it's lighter. But the lightness, it's even though it's lighter, it's stronger, which makes it even more interesting to me. So yeah, another great product made from hemp. We just wanted to show you guys a little bit more visual this time around.
I'm looking at it right here, and it just, man, what they do with even the flooring, or I mean, just
you're looking at the inside picture.
I'm actually looking at the interior of the house now, and it's gorgeous. It's amazing. The technology is there. We know how to do it. It's just not really being done yet.
Well, but then that's one of the things we wanted to talk about, and one of the things we're going to be talking about with our guest today was we wanted to talk about the fact that, again, everybody talks about marijuana legislation and the legalization of adult use of marijuana, and we talk about it, of course, because we do like to talk about the entire cannabis plant, and obviously that's something that seems to be interesting a lot of people, But when it comes to the hemp side, it's been very largely ignored. And the legalization of hemp in Colorado is a huge possibility for jobs. And, we're looking at, at least another 1,000 jobs minimum in Colorado, just from the farming needs of it. And that's just a minimum and conservative estimate. But also the revenue that could be coming into Colorado, you're looking at, 80 to 100 million. And that's because you're talking about not just the sale of the hemp plant itself, just like you said, Jason, it's a multi-use plant. So you're as a farmer are making money on the seeds, you're making money in the stock, you're making money on the curds when you grind up the stock itself and what you're using that for. So there's so many applications and so many places to sell for. I think the estimate I saw today was about $516 to $800 an acre.
Wow.
That's huge.
Yep.
And you come from a farming background, so I don't know what like a good price is for most acreage. I think corn came up to something like $200 to $300. I think it was. Oh, not corn. I meant cotton.
I'd have to go back and look at it because I was actually not driving around on a tractor. I just come from the community.
No, I understand that. I understand that.
So I mean, we could definitely look
lying.
That up. Yeah, I'm lying. Yeah, that's what I do. Rawr.
Yeah, that's an immense profit, I think, for a farmer, especially if you want to grow that 3 cycles a year.
Well, think about the less hassle too, as some of you know and some of you don't. But we are the exclusive distributorship for a drink called Cannabis Energy Drink here in Colorado, Wyoming, and going to be surrounding states hopefully. But K1 Energy Drink, we're in partnership with them, and they actually have exclusive distributorship throughout North America, Mexico, and Canada, I believe. And we have product that's already sold that's already in the United States. And what's going on with it is that it passed customs, and now the FDA tested it. They wanted to make sure that it has no THC. Well, it was supposed to be released last month, and here we are a month later. Now,
it doesn't have any THC in it.
It doesn't.
It's just made from hemp.
And so I'm not really too sure because we've had no issues getting it through customs in Newark.
It is,
but this is customs in
it
Chicago.
Is,
But where I'm going with it though is that if this product was manufactured or grown in the United States, we wouldn't be going through all these hassles anymore. So the government would have one less thing that they need to do as far as this product goes.
Absolutely.
It's going to create jobs. It's going to help boost the economy. There's 50,000 items that can now be used for this product, anywhere from food to clothing to manufacturing that it's going to take to go ahead and create the product to go ahead and cultivate this this crop. I mean, it's absolutely amazing and unlimited potential that this crop has, and thank God that Colorado or the amendment, it got slid into Amendment 64 on the back end, which I believe was like a last minute type of decision.
It wasn't so much a last minute decision, I think, but it was an afterthought. Like it was like, oh, and we could also do this. And the funny thing is that whole we could also do this part of the legislation is most likely, if taken seriously, going to be worth more for this state
for the country
and for the country in the long run, because what will happen is other states will go, wait a minute, we don't want to miss the boat, Colorado's ahead of us. And that competition is good. It means, okay, Kentucky's going to jump on board with it, and then everybody's going to have different varieties of the hemp plant. They're going to have different benefits for whatever materials you're growing because of the climate, because while it's something that grows easily, genetically, when something grows in a certain area, it grows in a certain way as opposed to another area, and then it develops, its status or its heirloom kind of status in that location, and that's something that we've lost here in the United States by the systematic destruction of feral hemp. I mean, there still is plenty of it out there, and that's where I think people need to try to find it, is find that wild hemp that's still growing and grab those seeds and start utilizing it in that region when it's legal.
Another thing that we're gonna have to come up with is we went through the whole issue of a first center opening, a first marijuana center opening, and then a second one, and then a third one. Well, now obviously we're past that. Now we need a farmer to step up and be the first farmer to go ahead and plant a seed.
We do. I mean, and I understand the limitations and the worry about that as a farmer, because it's not cheap to be a farmer. I mean, it's a lot of work and effort. And imagine putting all the effort to harvest, 50 to 100 acres of hemp, and then have the DEA come and say, no, we didn't allow you to do this, because that's the thing. And federally, the DEA is the one that has to give you the right to grow hemp.
Right.
So that's the division that can still come in and stop our Colorado farmers from growing it. And so I understand that fear, and that's where Hickenlooper, and John Southers have to step up and say, yeah, we will back the farmers. We will not allow the DEA to come in here and destroy their crop without any repercussions coming down on them.
Well, and I'm sure that those questions have been brought up. However, that conversation, I believe, was recorded with Southers, and there's a petition going around online right now to go ahead and capture that information and to actually release it so that people can actually listen to it. Because I think if that conversation is released to us, then we'll know exactly what the conversation was about, and maybe actually know what maybe is the next step, at least on the hemp side of things. Was it brought up? Again, I don't know. I know a majority of it probably was around the medical marijuana side of things, or the adult use of marijuana. But I mean, when I listen to it, I hope I hear something in there that actually gives hope to the farmers to be able to grow this.
Well, and I think that's the problem. I think that's something that we want to do here within the industry is, again, of course, if you're a dispensary owner, and Tony from River Rock is a big example of one who's not like what I'm about to say, because he's like, well, I want to talk about hemp.
Yeah.
And a lot of dispensary owners do, but they're more concerned, of course, with the marijuana side, because that's what affects them, directly. And so by being more affected by that, they're very laser focused on that. And when I think what we need to do is there needs to be a voice to step up and say, okay, let's bring Colorado farmers together with hemp farmers. Let's bring Colorado paper mills together with hemp paper mills that have been reworked in Canada, and let's start creating, okay, how did they do this? Can we improve upon that method and do that? Just like we say always, every other state should kind of follow Colorado to see what we are doing right, pick out what we're doing right, and maybe they can build and improve upon it from there.
Well, and I think we should talk a little bit more about that when we get back from our break.
Absolutely, because we are ready for a break. So we'll take one. We'll be back. And we do have Stickman from Overgrow the Radio who has just joined us. Say hello.
Hey, what's happening?
He's going to be hanging out with us the rest of the show, and he's going to be piping in about his thoughts on everything we're talking about.
I have thoughts.
He does have thoughts. Thank you for joining us for the Hemp Connoisseur Radio. We'll see you in just a minute.
Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. Runongrass.com.
The law offices of Edson, Maton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
The Hemp Connoisseur is Colorado's premier guide to hemp culture. Our mission is to elevate the image of the medical cannabis and hemp industries to create widespread acceptance of the cannabis sativa plant. You can find the latest issue of the Hemp Connoisseur at more than 200 7-Elevens, your favorite dispensary, MMJ doctor offices, and tattered covered bookstores. Do you consider yourself a cannabis connoisseur? Then come be a part of the Hemp Connoisseur's first cannabis championship. Visit us at thcmag.com for info on how to sample the best medicine Colorado has to offer.
You're listening to Hemp Connoisseur Radio on iCannabisRadio.com.
Thank you again for joining us on the Hemp Connoisseur Radio. We're back, and we have Stickman in the studio with us, which is awesome to have you here, man.
Thank you. It's awesome to be here. I've never been on THC Radio.
I know, and you kind of broke my radio cherry, so to speak, because you had me as a guest on your show, and that's kind of how we got started in this whole madness.
Yeah, I think Overgrow the Radio birthed this.
It did.
This show,
it did.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Was that the show we were both on?
Yes, it was. That was his show.
So he popped my cherry too?
It was
cherry popper.
We're taking a little bit more of a relaxed approach today on the Hemp Connoisseur, if you guys haven't noticed, because we hadn't, we don't have a guest today. Things happen like that on scheduling, and so we asked Stickman to come in and join us, and we're just going to hang out and kind of talk about everything that's been going on with the industry, like we were talking about hemp. And where did we leave off?
We were actually talking about economics out of Canada. Well, the last thing you had brought up was Canada, but we're really trying to get into what's next.
The
first step. I mean,
what's the first step for hemp?
Is planting a seed, letting it grow, and then what happens to the product after that? What jobs it's created, the amount of money. I know Dave's actually looking for. He had a great site that he's going to be pulling up here, but his iPad for some reason.
You know what? I'm having issues with it. It's gone, and I'm not going to even mess with it. We're just going to talk about this right now.
Contrary to popular belief, I'm more than just a recreational / patient guy.
Mm-hmm.
I consider myself always have a hempster. I mean, Jack Hare will always be my unofficial mentor.
Yep.
If you don't have any of his books in your house, I don't really like you that much. That being said, endless opportunities. Like Jason, I heard you mention before your break that sorry, I should know how to talk into the mic, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
I heard you mention something, along the way of job growth and that type of thing, and the governor. You guys were mentioning the governor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he has like another week. He has to certify the election. It's in his description. He can't.
He
just
has to.
By law, he has to sign it.
Yeah, he can't say, I didn't like Amendment 64, so we're going to exclude that.
Exactly.
That won't work. So once that happens, essentially, as you guys know, and probably your listeners, it is legal to grow hemp.
Yep.
And reason being, the way that 64 was written, They actually wrote it in to where by 2014 they have to implement some sort of rules to allow the growth of hemp. That means that they're going to actually acknowledge it, they're going to address it, and fine-tune it, is what I like to say, you know, the follow-up rules. Once that happens, I think after 2014, then that's when, you know, like you were saying, Jason, that's when they have to plant the seed. They have to do it. There has to be a farmer that steps up and does it.
But there doesn't just have to be a farmer. There has to be somebody who steps up at the same time for that farmer to facilitate the industry, to facilitate the infrastructure of it. He's going to say, yes, I'm going to take that seed from you, and this is what I'm going to do with it. You know, so it's like, it's not something like marijuana where you like, I'm going to grow the plant and people are just going to come buy the plant because they can just smoke it.
Yeah, but we also have to keep in mind too that we used to be able to grow hemp legally. So the technology, the farming equipment, at least the ideas behind it are already out there. It's more of like, okay, well, you shut down a plant, and now you got to like start cranking that baby back up again, and so it's there. We just have to get the infrastructure back in place.
You brought up a really good point. I was kind of the fly on the wall before David introduced me, and back in Illinois where I grew up, I detasseled corn as a kid. That's how you made money to do whatever. And at the end of every cornfield, you would see these huge hemp plants, and of course at 13 you think, oh wow, weed. So it is still out there. I know my grandfather, unofficial grandfather, if you will, every year cuts hemp out of his fields. You know, and I've heard him joke in slow years for other crops. He's like, boy, I wish I could let that grow, you know. So another thing, Kentucky, Gatewood, if you guys are familiar with him, he passed not too long ago. He introduced a bill year after year up until his death, trying to get hemp back into the economy there. I think it's going to be exponential what we see after it's signed in.
Yeah, isn't there a hemp town, Kentucky?
Oh, I'm sure there is.
I believe there is, because they actually named it after the crop because it was such a successful crop.
Hey, if there's any developers out there, we'd love to play a game called Hemp Town.
Yeah, there you go.
So develop it.
Well, if you can't tell, like, I'm super excited about our possibilities with hemp. Like,
I am too.
The whole 64 thing, I think it's great. Everyone can come to Colorado and enjoy recreational cannabis now. Everyone over 21. But the hemp side of it, for me, opens hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs up.
Absolutely.
It's going to bring, I would say, eventually billions into our economy.
Well, and I think that's the thing is I want Coloradans to encourage the cannabis plant. You know, and when I say that, I'm talking about the hemp and the marijuana side of it. I mean, let's have all these dispensaries. Like, let's not tell them to do this. Obviously, I'd just like to see them doing this. Is like, let's not, you coming in from out of state just because you want to get high legally because you're over 21. Good for you, great. Adult. But while you're here, can we educate you guys about what hemp can do? Can we educate you about like where this could take our country? Let's be that state that like kind of becomes that model and says it's not just about making the money too, though. It's also about changing the culture of the United States in a positive manner.
Well, and I think a few different people have said it from Hickenlooper down the line, you know, that we don't want to be known as the pot capital, you know, and my response to that is, I mean, it's absurdity from our government, as we hear a lot. We're already the pot capital. I hate that word. Let me digress and premise that. The cannabis capital.
That's what I was just going to say. The cannabis capital.
Exactly. You know, I feel, you know, before I moved here as a patient, I was in a flyover state, and, you know, I looked to Colorado for guidance. I watched what was going on here, and that's why I chose to move here. We absolutely are that state.
I was listening to the Mike Rosen show, which Mike Rosen was a supporter of Amendment 64. Conservative, extremely conservative, and he asked the question, or Governor Hickenlooper was on his show this morning, and they asked the question, and I guess what I got from it, and this is out of Hickenlooper's mouth, is that they can do an amendment to the scheduling of marijuana or the cannabis plant, so they can actually without the federal government. So without changing the schedule of it, they can do an amendment, leaving it in the hands of the states to go ahead and decide to what they want to do with the feds backing off. But again, it has to be, it's going to have to be passed through Congress, and will it pass? They're not too sure. But it's interesting because you talk about rescheduling. you may not even need to reschedule this thing to make it, to have it so that the feds back us up.
So,
the states.
but the feds are basically backing up the states if they were to make that amendment to the Constitution. I mean, you know, and I understand. I think that's a great but you know what that seems to me? Let me just I don't know why this analogy is coming up, but it's like the don't ask, don't tell. It's like we're gonna say it's up to you whether you're gay or not. But you can't tell us, and then you're okay. It's kind of like, just keep it under wraps. But I mean, it's not exactly the same analogy, but it's like it's a half measure. It's a half measure. I mean, and I think it's a cool idea because then it's saying, okay, we're going to put it up to the states. But the thing that doesn't happen with that is you're still eliminating interstate commerce because it's not federally allowed then, or you know what I mean? It's like it's not. It's just got to change.
Well, the TSA actually released a statement. God, Jay Brown, our sales manager for Nexus Meds, he found it. But the TSA released a statement saying that although it's kind of been, yes, you could take your marijuana on a plane if you're leaving out of a state that has it and you have a red card. Well, now they've openly said that you can take your product from one state to another marijuana state as long as they accept your card. So it's kind of a one-sided thing here because we don't accept out-of-state cards yet. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's legal. It's going to be legal. So all of that's going to go out anyways. But at this point, so it's great to see that the TSA has acknowledged that, and that's a federal.
Absolutely
extension. So
the VA, the TSA. I mean, you could go on and on the federal hypocrisy that the agencies that have recognized cannabis and or hemp.
Yep.
Well, that's interesting now because does that open up applications for us in Colorado who are completely legal, which means we don't have to accept their card or whatever? Is that going to allow interstate commerce where we can start buying California marijuana as like an out-of-state like thing? Like, you know, I could see them saying, hey, this is stuff from California. It was grown in, you know, Mendocino County, you know, and now you have, you know, dispensaries or coffee shops or wherever they're going to be in 2014 being able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a step in the right direction. There's no question about that. People are going to get busted. I mean, there's going to be examples set somewhere. Somebody's going to do something, or you know, something along those lines. That's really going to help because, again, this is the first time it's the second time we're going through this because alcohol prohibition was the first time.
Right.
So there is some sort of path done, but it's more of like brushing off the dust and really kind of figuring it out again.
Right. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'm excited to watch what happens over the next year, and I hope that we're able to sit down and try to do what we can to help the hemp side of it grow and expand. Mm-hmm. I definitely think that there needs to be a constant communication with Canadian farmers and infrastructure there because obviously they're the closest, but also we should be looking at Europe. And I don't think that we should be trying to reinvent any wheels.
Right.
You know, I think that's the most important thing. You know, in new industries, sometimes that seems to happen. And like other states have tried to reinvent the wheel on regulation of medical marijuana after we're doing what we're doing here. And it's shown to be at a high success rate. And they're like, oh, well, we'll do it completely differently. We know better, even though we've never done this. And
yeah, I think with hemp, I'll just say I want to see us steal jobs from Canada and Europe because right now, and you guys have probably said this 1,000 times, most people know we're the biggest importer of hemp in the world, yet we don't produce it. So all of that money, just like the drug war, all that money goes to other countries.
At least $400 million.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that that's going to make a big difference because you have different climates that this hemp is growing in, and probably down the line you're going to find, cool, hemp from Canada is best used for this.
That's
hemp
true.
That's a good point. Yeah,
the United States is best used for this. Because I think you can get that trade put together.
I think with hemp, though, and I'm not an expert, I don't claim to be, but I think with hemp, really, it's universal. And that's the beautiful thing about hemp is it does grow. Now I'm not talking cannabis. It has to be manicured and loved and played classical music too.
Yes, it does.
But industrial hemp, you know, it's kind of a one shoe fits all. You know, the 50,000 uses that you referred to earlier, the 30,000 from, you know, the cellulose and then another 10, 20,000 from the fiber itself. No matter what strain, if you will, of hemp, I think they're all pretty uniform. And they do. They grow in a variety of climates. Now, it will be interesting to see where that goes. You know, like, oh, this is stronger. Let's use Canadian hemp for shoes.
Exactly.
And
there's obviously different strains of hemp out there as there are with the marijuana plants. So you might find that, okay, well, this hemp strain is best used for clothing. This hemp strain, it grows a little bit smaller, so maybe that's what you use for hempcrete. And then this one is best used for ABC product.
Well, exactly, and I had this came from a conversation I had with Jason Love today because he went to
Canada.
He went to Canada for the Hemp Alliance meetings, and they want Canada wants us to grow it. Because of exactly what we're talking about right now. They're like, look, the strains that we're growing are obviously very specific towards our region. We want to see what you guys are going to come up with, you know, what you're growing, because it'll have different usage. And we can actually have a little trade here. Maybe our Canadian hemp is better for this, but your Colorado hemp is better for this. Yeah. So, I don't know. I think it's really exciting to see that the industry, other industries, don't even look at it as competition, but as something to help boost the industry as a whole. Because, of course, if we start growing it in the United States, and I know we have to go to break in a second, but if we do start growing it in the United States, people are going to be much more aware of hemp, and production is going to just kind of geometrically go up because of the popularity of it, and that is going to help the hemp industry in Canada.
And when we come back from the break, I've got a good idea that actually it's a program we're in the process of implementing now with Hot Diggity, but the reasoning behind it and where we're going with it. So for now, I'm Jason, this is Dave, and we got Stickman in here. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
I love
The Hemp Connoisseur is Colorado's premier guide to hemp culture. Our mission is to elevate the image of the medical cannabis and hemp industries to create widespread acceptance of the cannabis sativa plant. You can find the latest issue of The Hemp Connoisseur at more than 200 7-Elevens, your favorite dispensary, MMJ doctor offices, and tattered covered bookstores. Do you consider yourself a cannabis connoisseur? Then come be a part of The Hemp Connoisseur's first Cannabis Championship. Visit us at thcmag.com for info on how to sample the best medicine Colorado has to offer.
Dixie Elixirs, the patient's choice for alternative medical marijuana treatment, brings you Dixie Botanicals all-natural topical therapy, including massage oil, pain relief salve, and our newest product, Dixie Botanicals Pain Relief Lotion. This all-natural lotion pairs beautifully with Dixie Botanicals bath salt for a deeply relaxing experience with no psychotropic effect. Like us on Facebook, Dixie Elixirs, or join us at www.dixieelixirs.com.
The law offices of Edson, Maton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
All right, we are back at the Hemp Connoisseur Radio, and we are sitting in the studio here with Stickman from Overgrow the Radio. What's going on?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, not pompous at all.
No.
No, thanks for having me on again, guys. A quick shameless plug, though. My show tonight at 7, we'll be talking to Bob Kraus. He actually... And I'm pretty sure it's the biggest return in state history. He just got back 55 plants and 6.7 pounds. So his attorney, Clifton Black, and he'll be in this evening. Then we're going to kind of digress and talk with Jesse Varese, who was attacked by Dan May, too, back in June. Got a public defender and kicked Dan May's butt.
Has Dan May won any cases?
Oh, he's ridiculous, man. I've got a phone call we're going to play tonight. I was really, really impressed and surprised that his PIO, Public Information Officer, answered the phone today. I think she had gotten to the point where she knew all my phone numbers and just quit answering. So she answered. It'd been a while, You
called from a different number, didn't you?
Well, yeah, not to give it all away, but it was pretty short and sweet, and I think I caught her off guard. But, yeah, they're still, he hasn't gotten the memo in El Paso County that the war on cannabis is over. You real quick, we talked.
He's like the Karl Rove of cannabis.
Yeah.
I told Dave on the phone today. I sat through a long city council meeting on Tuesday where we voted in fracking. Horrible thing, in my opinion. And in that meeting, they talked about we need jobs in El Paso County, and that's why we need to bring in fracking. And as a side joke, fracking employs in the long run maybe 5 people that are probably all from out of state. But anyway,
you have to be specialized in fracking. You don't
exactly.
just put something in the ground.
Well, here's the idiocy, and here's the reason I can't move out of El Paso County because there's so much work to do. They came out publicly against Amendment 64, right?
Yeah.
And one of the most conservative, crazy, out there council members didn't even show up for the vote and then sang "Puff the Magic Dragon" to Westward or someone when he was asked about it. So that was his response. What his opinion was.
That's what's amazing. Just as a side note, is how immature the response is from people who are supposed to be public officials. I mean, even Hickler. Oh no, don't break out the Cheetos yet. Well, that's come back to bite him in the ass. I don't know how many times now.
And those of you that are listening that don't know what happened in El Paso County, because we are on the web, is El Paso County actually banned medical marijuana dispensaries in Colorado, but the city of Colorado Springs actually decided to keep them. And now El Paso County in the last election won by
10 votes.
10 votes. Amendment 64.
Crazy. But El Paso County, one of the most conservative counties in the state, voted in favor of medical marijuana or recreational marijuana, adult marijuana, whatever you want to call it. So
that's only a few days old.
That's a huge step, because that's amazing. That's like little heaven down there in Colorado.
Well, I find this is just the stupidity we deal with in that, like I said, we're bringing on 10 new jobs for fracking to ruin our drinking water, but we have hemp, which is a clean resource, and cannabis. We're going to stand up and take a stance against that as a city council. What kind of sense does that make? Do they not see the hundreds of jobs that our county could bring in there? I mean,
this is not a fracking debate because we can get into it because I support fracking. So
no,
it's all good.
Whether you support it or not, I think what Stickman is speaking to is the argument of jobs. Sure. I mean, if you're going to say that you care about jobs and getting good jobs for everybody, then you would pick the one that's going to have the most jobs.
Okay, but why pick one?
No, I'm not saying pick one.
Multiple.
I understand, but to me, it's a no-brainer on the 64 side, as opposed to on the fracking side. There is the debate. There is that debate. Does it damage the groundwater? Does it not? I believe it does. I know other people don't. I know, and that's fine if you're. But that's up for debate. That's up for study. I don't think there's any need for study.
Unfortunately, a lot of that is going to take time for proof.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what it's going to take. Fracking is still relatively new. At least with the technology, the vertical fracking that they're speaking about. So
sure.
That's my.
I didn't go into great detail, but I guess I didn't. Maybe I should have went a little further in that the city council members sat there and talked about how horrible fracking was. One lady even bawled, cried, said she was a mother. She can't. This is a hard decision, and then vote yes. And, when it's cannabis, they never, ever, to sound uncouth or uneducated there, they never, ever, ever, ever take a stance against any initiative like they did 64. The fact that they outspokenly did that was ridiculous because they're just, excuse my French, pissing away so many jobs,
I just think there's still a large level of ignorance in our state leaders, not just Colorado. I'm sorry. I mean, in our government as a whole. I think that these guys a lot of times live in a bubble. There are those that don't, that are very salt of the earth kind of politicians, and generally those ones look at these kind of issues and go, "Well, let's just deal with what makes common sense here." Okay, this has stats have shown that this doesn't kill people, it doesn't hurt people, and we know it doesn't do that. Yeah, let's pass it. It'll create jobs. Stats on this are inconclusive. Let's leave this up for debate. But that's a common sense approach to me. But this approach of, oh no, absolutely not, that means they didn't do their research.
Sure.
That's what it means to me.
Well, and the energy that comes from or the damage to the earth, I guess, because in Colorado we have a lot of tree hugger. This is a tree hugging state. I mean, straight up it is what it is. But you have all of these oil companies drilling and destroying.
Here, honestly, Jay, and completely off cannabis hemp topic,
that's all right.
But fracking, I mean, for me, whatever, if it pollutes drinking water. My bigger problem is the bigger picture.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, my bigger,
which is not proven to do. So go ahead.
Well, right, but my bigger problem is it's a non-renewable resource. We have hemp.
That's my problem.
That's my problem. Yes. Anything we're using, from oil to natural gas to any of it that's going to be gone, I have a problem with that.
Well, none of it's
I agree
and none of
with
that right, but again, okay, you have the debate on fracking, but then you also have, yes, if you have to put oil or natural gas or fracking against hemp, well, duh. We're going to go hemp every single time because you can grow hemp over and over and over and over.
What's the old analogy about 1 acre of hemp is equal to 4 acres of trees?
It is. It's 1 to 4. Mm-hmm. It's 1 to 4.
And that's just one cycle where it takes that same 4 acres of trees 20 years to grow. Well, it takes one cycle of that hemp. So, yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer when it comes down to...
And, yeah, we're a bunch of hippies here, man.
We are. But you know what? I mean... I think there's a place for things like fracking, and I think when we talk about, that's obviously what we focus on the most here. But we believe in all the renewable resources. We want solar. To me, it's common sense, and I think that's the point that I have with fracking more than anything else. I mean, if you're able to light your water on fire, yeah, there's a problem with the groundwater. I mean, and can you attribute that to fracking? Well, maybe you can,
Maybe you can.
But did you know that there's already methane in your drinking water?
Of course.
You have the little U thing in your sink, right? And there's water in there.
Yeah.
The reason there's water in there is to keep the methane gas from seeping up into your house, basically, and making it a big bomb. So it's already there.
It is.
So, who's to tell? Like you said, the science on that's brand new. I don't claim to know anything other than I hate fossil fuels.
Well, I think that's what it is for me. It's just I don't want. Let's not spend the billions of dollars it's going to take or whatever cost it's going to take to continually drill for oil and keep looking for oil when we could say, wow, imagine if we took that money and said, let's grow hemp. Let's find out other means of taking, trash, not to sound goofy, but like you said, rotten fruit. If you're not composting it, you throw it somewhere else, they can turn it into ethanol fuel. You can be powering your cars on this. I mean, why wouldn't we want to do that? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that bothers me to me, it's just common sense. When I hear politicians like, oh, no, we can't do it. We'll focus more on this stuff. And it's like, dude, it's just common sense to me.
Well, I mean, call me a tree hugger. I know we're probably running short, but my thing is
we run long every show.
I know you do. I'm always rushing you out.
We don't really care about Chris's education, so it's
okay.
Yeah, well, he's a smart guy. He'll be all right. Yeah. But I mean, in the long run, again, I'm very much a big picture type guy, and in the long run, with our population growth, our oil, even our water's at risk at this point.
Oh, it's definitely at risk.
What David said, I mean, it's a common sense approach for you and I. What we need to do is use our voices to make it a common sense approach for everyone. Mm-hmm. The renewable resources are the only way we have to go, period.
And it's whether you believe in global warming or climate change or not. I mean, if you want to be one of those people that doesn't agree with 90% of the scientists and says, well, 10% say it's okay. And I'm like, yeah, well, 50% of them finish in the bottom half of their class, too. Where's that 10% fall?
And they hold a great stock interest in companies like Exxon.
BP. but even if you said, okay, fine, there's no global warming, doesn't make me less passionate about using renewable energy. It just makes sense. It's like I don't understand why every company wouldn't want that. Hey, electric bills, energy bills could go down for everybody. That's good for everyone.
Well, I guess
for the oil company.
It just takes a lot of energy. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the plus side to that is eventually there'll be no more global warming because we'll be out of oil.
Well, the thing with it, though, is that it's glad that we're having this conversation, and we're not the only ones having this conversation. The governments are starting to have this conversation now. So the fact that it's there and people are talking about it more and more and more is the beginning of the change.
I think so.
And I read a lot of stuff that people would consider conspiracy stuff, and I read everything, right wing, left wing, I read it all. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of good friends that a few that work for the USGS. One in particular, actually, I had a good hour conversation about this and peak oil. And most people believe that we've already hit peak oil.
Oh, yeah.
Which means that we're exceeding, our demand is far exceeding our supply.
Yep.
That being said, it's only a matter of time. So if we don't make a 180 shift towards hemp biofuel and things of that nature, we're doomed. I mean, I'll survive. I am one of those hippies. I have a backpack. I can walk right out of town and I'll be good to go.
Yeah.
Right.
But not everybody will. So it's definitely something we've got to explore.
It's going to be the new, like the post-apocalyptic, the gun-toting hippie. I mean,
It's
it
already
seems
me,
like
brother.
an oxymoron, but that's what it is.
I've got a concealed carry permit, so I guess I am that dude.
I think I'm watching The Walking Dead too much. Well, I think
show.
It is a good show, actually. Well, we are actually right on time with 1 minute to go. Like Chris is
partying over here.
proud
He's
about
ready.
it.
He's
so
ready
proud
to go
of
do
himself.
some homework.
So obviously, very loose kind of show today. Kind of nice to do it this way once in a while.
It's nice to have Stickman in the.
It's really good to have you.
Yeah,
here,
man, this
Stickman.
was fun. Next time I'll be all professional. I won't be loose. I'll wear a tie or something.
I've never seen you wear a tie.
I know. I don't.
I'm surprised
much.
you're not. Are
Can
you
I
wearing
say
hemp?
something real quick?
No. Are you
Am I-
wearing hemp?
I shower with hemp every day.
Dr. Bronner's?
It's just hemp. I made this actually.
Did you?
I am that much of a hippie.
Okay, so
that
you
I
have a
make
hemp
my own
necklace,
hemp
which is
necklaces.
awesome. But are your clothes? They made a hemp. I mean, I've got hemp on. Dave?
I do have hemp on.
Huh.
yes.
My underwear are hemp.
There you go. We don't need to. You don't need to pull that out.
I actually
Chris
I
has you
bought
free
some
ball,
new
so-
shoes today.
And Chris wanted to
and-
say something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to wish my mom a happy birthday.
Oh,
Happy
happy
birthday.
birthday, Chris's
Happy
mom.
birthday, Chris's mom. Let's sing.
No. It's time to go.
Hey, can't you pull up like a song on the internet and
Can't
sing
do
it
it.
to her?
No.
Where's our birthday cake?
Come on.
And I want to
All
hear you
right.
sing your mom happy birthday before we go. Come on.
So your mom had you at what, 14? So she's young.
I'm going to cut you off.
Oh, he's cutting us off.
Thank
All right,
God.
well, guys, thank you so much for listening to Hemp Connoisseur Radio today. We will be back next week. Just to give everybody a production note, we will not be here on the 27th of December because, well, it's the holiday, and you know what? Take it off. Enjoy it.
But you can listen to some recorded shows.
You could listen to some if you couldn't get enough, you could listen to some past shows. But we're signing out, man. And so
Thanks again, Stickman.
thank you, Stickman.
Thank you guys. It was fun.
It was fun. David.
I'm Jason.
Peace, love, and
love, and
happiness.
happiness.
Sorry, that was really bad.
That was bad.